Well, hello, my name is Paul Niehaus. I have the pleasure today of sitting with Marty Spikener.
Yeah, my name's Marty D. Spikener. I always like to throw that D in there because my mother had an issue with my father at one point, and she said, I'm putting that D in there. I'm not going to, because his name was David, and she was mad at him, so she said, it's just going to be Marty D. And I'm not going to call him Marty David Spikener. So I always take the pride in putting that D in there. You know?
That's good. That's good. Man. Marty, how old are you?
Man, I'm 68. I'll be 69 September the 22nd.
Wonderful.
So, yeah, man.
Wonderful.
So it's a blessing to make it this far when a lot of people I've seen haven't, you know, and people I had the pleasure of playing with.
What is your earliest musical memory?
Well, in my area, there was a lot of great musicians and music going around, and what I used to like to do was go up to Fairground Park. And Percy Green used to have a thing every Sunday or once a month. It was called Afro Day in the Park. Mm-hmm. And I seen a lot of great musicians play up there. And 10th Century, Marvin Horn, the 13th Floor. And they had a song called Leanin', and it took off. And it was a privilege to see those guys, man. And it influenced me to take up an instrument. And I wanted to play trumpet, but my mother wouldn't let me because she said it was killing people. I said, what? She said, no, I'm not letting you play the trumpet. Too many people play the sax. We had a piano in the house, but everybody who played the piano quit. I said, that thing must be hard as hell to play. So I said, the drums. She won't let me play the drums. She said, yeah, the drums. I said, wow.
Wow.
So
how old were you?
Oh, man, I was 15.
Okay.
And every Saturday, I was taking the Lee bus downtown to Ludwig Aeolian to take lessons from my first drum teacher. His name was Ben West.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. And when did you get into blues music?
Well, I kind of took it around the wrong way because a lot of people learn blues before they learned a lot of other stuff, but I got a good friend of mine who's still in the plays with me today, and his name is Solomon Haynes.
Yeah.
And we were playing like jazz, weather report, and everything like that.
Oh, wow.
And,
really complex music.
Yeah, man. So I figured like if you can play the hardest thing in the world,
yeah,
you can play anything else.
Yeah. But
if you wanted to work and play a lot, you know, you had to play some blues, man.
Yeah. Yep.
So I started learning blues because we used to play at the place called Sam and George's and West Florissant, and that's where I met Tommy Bankhead and Big George. And they called us playing like some R&B and everything. They said, well, he can play some blues. So I hooked up with Tommy Bankhead and did a gig with them, and they had let Big George sit in. Mm-hmm. And Big George had timing like John Lee Hooker. And they were doing those changes and stuff, man. And I was getting lost left and right. And I said, man, maybe I need to give up drums. I can't keep up with these guys.
Wow.
But then I said, you know, I learned about John Lee Hooker, and I started studying what they were doing. And then I was going down to the Oyster Bar. And but Kurt Grice lived in the neighborhood where I lived at. And we got to talk, and I discovered he played drums. And he liked my style and everything. He said, man, I'm going to get you out there and stuff. Because I was doing a lot of work in East St. Louis, too. And you had to learn some blues over there. And they were deaf on you on the pocket.
Right.
Matter of fact, I had a guy yell, the pocket, mother, play the pocket. I'll shoot you, boy. You don't play. Why you got all them drums and stuff? You all need it.
Right.
So I learned some blues from over there. But then Kirk introduced me to the Oyster Bar. And I was singing and learned to sing and play drums and stuff because Buddy Miles, and I keep forgetting the guy that played for Rare Earth. Mm-hmm. They both sang and played drums, and I admired that. So,
well, that's what I was going to ask, is when you started singing as a drummer.
Yeah, man. When I seen those two cats, I said, well, another thing I could add to my repertoire, you know. So Kurt said, you sing and play? Come on down to the Oyster Bar. So I went down to the Oyster Bar and sat in. And at first, I was just going to sit there and just listen. Kurt said, no, you're going to sit in, man. You ain't going to just sit here.
Yeah.
You're going to get up here and play trial by fire. So they put me up there on the stage, and I played you know, they liked what I did, and that's why I ran into Eric McSpadden. And then they were looking for a drummer, and I hooked up with them and started playing with Mojo Syndrome,
Okay.
where I played with them for like 10 years.
Wow.
And met Bobby Nickerson,
Yeah.
who's a great guitar player
Yeah.
and slide player, man. And
I've recently become friends with his brother, Tom.
oh yeah, Tom's good.
Do you know
cat,
him?
too.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
All
I
right.
knew-
All right.
Once you met Tom, you met the whole family.
Okay.
I mean, met
Bobby?
Bobby. You
Okay.
met the whole family,
Nice.
man, and it was cool.
Yeah. I
Yeah.
heard they were a very musical family.
Oh yeah, man, very musical, and he was a pleasure to play with.
I'm sure.
Yeah, man.
What's your favorite St. Louis blues memory?
Ooh, man, I have so many. One of my memories, I used to play with. You mentioned Rich Hunt, and we used to play at Port Bob's every Sunday.
Where was that?
That was in East St. Louis.
Okay.
And I got a chance to play with him for a while. And, you know, being a musician, it puts you in some precarious places. And I was playing over there one day, and a guy there, it was a pool table in there. And this guy named, they call him Blues Boy Bubba, he's gone now. But apparently the pool game got out of hand. And the guy pulled a gun on him and was getting ready to shoot him while he was on the ground. But no, he knocked the guy on the ground, and he pulled out a pistol and get ready to shoot Bubba. He was standing, and but the gun clicked. It misfired.
Wow.
And that's all it took was for Bubba to jump all over him. I met him, but me and Charles became tight after all that, and I played with him for a while.
Wow.
That was cool. But Mojo Syndrome, man, was, I'd say, one of the first blues bands I had the pleasure of playing with and getting indoctrinated to the blues and meeting Eric and
Derek on bass?
Derek on bass. And we played on top of the garage, one of the Big Muddy Blues festivals, man. And,
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man, and good buddy of mine, he recorded the whole thing, and I think that was one of the first times we got asked to do an encore song,
Wow.
and it was really an honor to do that, man, because I think we were the only one that got asked to do that.
Wow.
But Bobby was a killer, man.
Wow.
That was a great band.
Marty, I want to ask you about like sound, like the PAs, the sound reinforcement back in the day.
Yeah.
What was it like being back in that day where it was like, some would say it's like much more primitive gear than we have today, but I want to know what it sounded like.
I tell you one thing, man, it was a lot heavier gear than we
Yes,
had in the day.
that's true.
Because one of my things I realized I had to get a PA system.
Yeah.
And this, you know, the whole thing is a learning experience. And I bought a PA system, man. I had like these SP3s and a mixing board, and it was all PV stuff, and it was all heavy, man.
Yeah.
And that stuff, we had like at the end of a gig with the band I had, we had to lug the stuff in the basement, take it out of the basement and everything like that, and then we got tired of taking it around the back to put it in the basement. So we figured out, man, it's small enough where we can shove it through the front basement window. So we started doing that, but man, when it was cool, but equipment today, man, is so much better and lighter that you don't have to kill yourself, man.
Yeah.
And I appreciate that immensely.
Well, definitely the weight element.
Yeah, and you know, I learned about monitors and how monitors played such a part in you know, being on stage and being able to hear everybody and hear everything. So equipment, man, became such a big important thing to me, because I realized that if you want to hear and play and be as close to a professional as you can, you want to have some great sound equipment.
Indeed.
Yeah.
One more question for you. Where do you think blues is headed?
I think blues is headed in a great place, man, because I'm amazed at how many young people are starting to catch on to the fact that what it was stated when I was doing that bass guitar thing downstairs, that if you want to play jazz, you need to learn blues. And when I was teaching at the School of Rock out here in Kirkwood, I emphasized that to all my students.
Yep.
If you want to be versatile, learn the root,
Yep.
which is blues, and then that'll open up doors for you for so many other things, because blues is played in so many different styles of music, jazz, R&B, and like I was saying, even if I listened to Marvin Gaye one time, and he has a song called Pride and Joy, not the Stevie Ray Vaughan version,
Right.
but he played like a plethora of instruments, and he played the drums on it.
I didn't know that.
Yeah, man. And what surprised me was he played the shuffle on that particular song. After I listened to it, and I said, okay.
Wow.
Yeah, man. So blues rears its head, man, in places that you wouldn't even expect it, you know.
Absolutely.
And in jazz, which, like I said, you know, I played jazz, but I did a 360, man. I had, okay, this is a shuffle in this. And like somebody was saying, playing all blues and a Miles Davis song, it was some shuffles in it, man.
Yeah.
So, you know, blues is like the foundation. I think a lot of young people are realizing that, and they're learning the blues and using it and putting it in their repertoire to give them a rounded music career, you know?
Yeah. Yeah. Any advice for young people getting into music?
I would say study your music, keep a clear head, stay away from the drugs. It's not a standard thing that you have to deal with. It's not a thing that musicians got to have in their lives and stuff like that. But you want to stay on point. You want to practice. You want to study. You want to listen. And that's one of the major things I like to tell young folks. Listen.
Yeah. Good advice.
Yeah, man.
Well, folks, again, I'm Paul Niehaus. Been here with Marty Spikener today. Thank you.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Yeah.
You know
Spike
what?
moves. Go ahead. Go ahead.
You know what, Paul? One thing, man, I have to say and comment, give you kudos. Like, I recorded my first CD under my name, and I recorded it in your studio.
That's right.
Man. And it was an honor to be able to do that.
Oh,
and
thank you.
From now, I've built on that, and now I've got my third CD out.
Awesome.
And I'm really proud of the fact, man, that I was able to do something in the studio, start with you, and then just keep growing from there.
Absolutely, man.
And that's what music is. It's a growth thing, man.
Absolutely.
Yes, sir.
We stand on the shoulders of giants.
You better believe it.
Yep.
Because, man, in my neighborhood, there was like a trumpet player named Lester Bowie. And he had a band called Defunct. But his whole family was musical because he played with STLBS. And his brother came and listened to me. He said, whatever you do, you know, be real with yourself and watch out what people tell you.
Wow.
Because a lot of people tell you anything, man.
Yeah.
And be careful, don't let nobody steal your music.
Yeah.
Because he was down the street listening to us rehearse, and he said, you know, a cat like me, I can sit right here and write down everything that y'all doing. And before you even think about making a record out of it, I've been and took it and made a song out of it myself, man. So that's one of the reasons I was glad I went back to school to get my reading and understanding of writing music and reading music.
Wow. That's right.
Man. So I think that's one of the other things I would convey to young people, you know, learn as much, learn to read, learn the music, man. Learn the music and learn the business too.
Wow.
Because the business is such a big part of it. And what somebody told me, music is 90% business, 10% of you playing.
Wow.
So I learned a lot, man, doing this and enjoyed every bit of it.
That's wonderful, Marty. Thank you for sharing the stories with me.
Oh, man, thank you, Paul, for having me.